Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen news. We have a few little updates, but mainly I'm going to be focusing on changes to the current state of the Alpha 4.0 patch, which has now been renamed to 3.10 for the Persistent Universe. Cloud Imperium have changed, or at least tweaked, the naming scheme for patches for Star Citizen's quarterly patches. So the Q2 June 2020 patch was supposed to be called Alpha 4.0, it's now named 3.10, and the one after that, the September Q3 2020 patch, is named 3.11. The 4.0 patch title is being reserved for the addition of the Pyro system into the game. And again, for future updates, expect 5.0 to be used for a big ticket feature release sort of patch. As we don't have details of the Q4 2020 patch yet for December, we don't know if it's going to be 3.12 or 4.0 yet. So Cloud Imperium are making progress on the Pyro system, so even with the other delays going on, we could still see it in 2020, maybe? Question mark? That's quite optimistic, I think, at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see. We have seen some changes to the now 3.10 patch. So what are its planned features now? What's going on with it? We saw the NPC scheduler, the shield tech replacement, the sign distance field tech for shields, and the realistic weapon handling features move off the visual roadmap. They will return in the future. But for 3.10, we are now getting Grimhex. It's getting updates to make it a fully fledged landing zone with internal hangars, the ability to spawn large ships, a race course, and a few other various updates to its facilities. This is in aid of giving pirates and outlaw players a haven in the Stanton system where they can do everything. It's basically a respawn location for outlaws that don't go to prison and that they can operate out of. New Babbage is getting additional shops opening up. The factory line main store in the central sort of shopping hub there, the flagship store for Microtech, is opening up. It's going to be selling computers and tech related to Mobiglass and SimPods and things like that. To what extent it will have purchasable useful items in 3.10 remains to be seen though. It might be somewhere that you get computer blades and AI modules in the future, maybe. They are opening a shop as well that sells flair, souvenirs and knickknacks. I'm hoping that will allow for some interesting customization in the short term. I'd also like to buy food and drink makers for ships, stuff like that, but we'll have to wait and see exactly what those things are going to be. Is it going to be fluffy dice and bobbleheads? Quite possibly, actually. In addition to Wally's Bar at New Babbage is the bar owner, Eddie Parr, who is a new mission giver there. He is a bit of a smuggler, bringing other forms of entertainment to New Babbage, and his suspected missions are going to be like smuggling orientated, maybe mixed with a bit of delivery and combat. That sort of stuff is the expectation there. Star Citizen's Planet Tech V4 is seeing some additional updates with the Ocean Shader, adding support for in-game oceans to react to flares, and local light sources using screen space and cube map reflection. There's a load of new shader features, and they're basically enhancing the realism of oceans with improved refraction, additional detail layers, and lots of stuff to make oceans look better and those large bodies of water look more realistic in game. We also have height map updates to more fully take advantage of high resolution. This is going to mean that more detail can be utilized during the painting process when they're actually creating terrain initially, but we'll see better levels of detail, blending, and better looking terrain and features because of that. The long-awaited Cutlass Blue is being made flyable. It's supposed to be the more armoured militia version of the Cutlass, a more rounded cockpit and blue livery. I want to make it sort of unique externally, and they've mentioned that it's still going to have cells for bounties, or at least that's sort of like been talked about, at least in brief. There have also been rumours of a quantum enforcement drive like the Mantis has. This could be a variant, a module, or just a rumour. If I can strip the internals and have data or cargo space in a Cutlass Blue, I'd probably rather have that than my Cutlass Black, but again, we'll have to see what options are available. The M50 is also getting updates here, bringing it in line with the rest of the Origin series. I'd also expect it to potentially be very useful for Grimhex racing. We have some weapons, the Lightning Bolt Co. ATSCAV Electron Sniper Rifle and Uberev Pistol. These will have a new damage type in-game, and there's also the C-54 ballistic SMG that's being added, and we're going to have updates to the Sledge Mass Driver, size 1 to 3 ship weapons, along with general ongoing updates to social and ship AI. There are 2 major listed features for 3.10 focusing on FPS AI. Weapon type choices. So this should update current combat AI to make them act more realistically and tactically. Adding new behaviors will allow AI to utilize a wider range of weaponry and understand how that weaponry works. There is cover usage here as well as a feature, expanding the tactical selection of NPC human combat to analyze the environment and detect where is appropriate cover for them. It doesn't have to be full cover, it can be small objects like crates, can be full cover, can be partial cover, all that sort of stuff, and they'll understand what weapons they're using with that and how to engage the player is the idea when that's all sort of formed together. There are UI updates that are ongoing with Cloud Imperium's new building block system for Star Citizen. They want to have the elevators all updated to use their more interactable screens and moving away from sort of like inner thought and more faked systems. Ships' HUDs are getting reworked too, with much needed improvements, pushing them more towards a complete, useful and functional implementation. There are some potentially very big combat updates coming there too, beyond just the ship's HUDs getting reworked. A targeting update that fundamentally changes how targets are tracked, with further UI updates to improve the visibility of locked and tracked targets and the return of pinned targets. Also, there's high-speed combat changes, so when you're moving above the SCM speed or going really, really fast, you'll see more limited functionality with your ship. We don't know exactly yet what this is going to be. It could be maybe that you can't use your quantum travel, or maybe you can't use missiles. Basically, the idea is that you'll be otherwise more vulnerable. Maybe your shields are less effective. Basically, they want to make sure that you can't just run away in every circumstance, you can't engage in jousting behavior. They want to have engagements at lower speeds so that people are able to enjoy the prettiness of the game. They want that sort of like slightly longer, more visually appeasing form of dogfighting. At least that's what it looks like at the moment. Body dragging is planned here as well, enabling a character to pull another prone character and move them around. This is obviously going to be very important for medical gameplay eventually, pulling buddies out of combat, stabilizing them, healing them. They want players to be knocked down, stunned, and bleeding out and that sort of stuff as well, so it's sort of like all building towards that sort of system. It will be useful for bounty hunting and mission rescuing NPCs, that sort of stuff as well. To what extent we're going to be using it in 3.10, we don't know. The surrender mechanics are here too, giving players the ability to surrender as an action. You'll be able to slow your ship to a complete halt and power it down if you're ordered to by security. That will impound your ship and won't have you killed. You will end up in prison still if you've done a crime, an appropriate crime to put you in prison anyway. We are getting restricted area reworks, so around major landing zones and cities, you'll see players being more guided to the appropriate landing pad or hangar, and movement near cities should be more natural, and this should make sort of city flybys and exploration of them more appropriate, and you shouldn't have sort of visual intrusions of like orange shields or anything going no flying here sort of thing. Beyond that, we could see something like a new straight to flyable ship or vehicle as well, that's yet to be announced. We know that Cloud Imperium want to get that Idris mission in. It wasn't ready for 3.9, so hopefully it will fall into 3.10. More generally, there should be more missions, ones for Eddie Parr, potentially the racetrack for Grimhex might be functional. There could be new foods and harvestables and minables and UEC making opportunities. Other things I'd like to see are more of the ships available in-game to rent and purchase that are already flyable in-game. I do hope that CIG make that a priority, because there's no real reason to not have them in the game at this stage. Some other little bits from the newsletter. There's a sneak peek of the Hercules Starlifter's upper deck. The Starlifter is currently not on the roadmap for release, but I would probably expect it Q4 2020 for a, 3.12 patch, if that's what they call it, or maybe it will be 4.0 if we have the Pyro system. We don't know yet, but optimistically, I'd like to see Pyro in 2020. RSI subscribers have access to the Drake Cutlass Red for May. Referring a friend until the 11th of May gets you both a Grey Cat buggy if that person that you referred buys at least a starter pack or spends at least $45 in that time. We are still waiting on the details of Fleet Week, Squadron 42 updates that Brian Chambers is supposed to give us at some point, or a new way of giving us Squadron 42 updates in the future. The Free Fly event, which is in May as well, and 3.9.1. We should all see more on those soon, but we don't know when. Some point in May probably for all of that. And that's it for the news really for this week and the 3.10 roadmap update. I'm interested to know what you think on how 3.10 is shaping up. Are you disappointed with the patch and its changes? Do you like the naming scheme 3.10? Are you happy with the progress they're making even during the working from home era? Do you think 3.10 is a silly patch name? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Every month we have a giveaway. For May, we're giving away a Star Citizen game package with Arrow Light Fighter. All you've got to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during the month. More details below. I am a shill for a couple of companies, NordVPN and NordPass. If you are looking for a VPN or a password management system, I recommend you check them out. They've got many benefits over free services, and as I'm pretty security conscious, I love those kind of services. Also, there's Shadow. If you are thinking about getting a new gaming rig or upgrading your gaming PC for Star Citizen or whatever, then consider Shadow instead. It is a internet cloud-based subscription service like Stadia, like GeForce Now, but this one gives you access to a full Windows 10 environment which is fully customizable, and that is significantly better in my opinion, allowing you to do a lot more with it. Check out the links below for them or use the code BoredGamer for discount. Also, if you wish to support the channel further, there is Patreon, there's the YouTube join member button down below. That really helps. This is a community supported channel and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without the support that I get. If you want to share these videos, if you want to comment, give feedback, whatever, that is also hugely appreciated. Thanks very much for watching, guys. You take care and I'll see you in the verse.